Hi guys, so we're going to do some more work on the pattern play. You know, the very first video that we did, which was a while ago now, was really well received by you guys at home, and you want me to do some more work on it. Pattern play. What is pattern play? Pattern play is which order do we take the balls to make it as simple and as easy as possible. So we're going to have a look at various different scenarios of which order I would take the balls, and I'll try and demonstrate to you why I would take the balls in that manner. So you've got a situation here where red balls effectively have gone for the clearance, have broken down, and there's two balls left. And you've got the layout of the yellows. Now, first thing that I want to identify here in this situation is, what is my last ball for the 8 ball? Because clearly any ball could be the last ball for the 8 ball in this scenario. But this ball actually doesn't connect with any other ball nicely except for the 8 ball. Now granted, you might say, well yeah, but you could bring it back up the table, but what would really be the need? So I would be looking to clear the 4 balls at the top first in such a way to make the transition from the top end of the table to the bottom. And then I'm looking to see how I want to play these 3 balls. Now I feel like I want to play these 3 balls 5, 6, 7, 8. So essentially at the bottom of the table, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I think, well, how can I transition from the top end of the table with a nice angle on this one to get onto this one nicely, to get onto this one nicely, and somewhere along the line actually drop in here. And once I've dropped in here, therefore I'll have an easy 8 ball into the centre. So that's what I'm looking at this stage. So I'm looking at number 1, I'm looking at 2, then I'm looking at 3. Why is that? Because the transition from 4 to 5 is really nice, because I actually want to be on this line. Because if I'm on this line, I can draw the cue ball into the cushion and back out again, because I don't want to land on the rail, because I want options to then play this ball and get where I want to be. So I'm going 1, 2. So the first shot, you know, I'm a big advocate of naturals. Well, we haven't quite got that opportunity. So we are actually going to have to stun up for ball number 2. But it's probably about the most amount of work we're going to do go in this pattern. So we're going to go number 1 to number 2. Number 2 to number 3 on the natural. Number 4 onto this line. Number 5, number 6, number 7. So let's give it a little bit of a whirl. So I'm playing this shot here, nothing for short, because if I'm short, I've then got to change my pattern. And I don't want to change the pattern because I would really like that last. So nice and easy, just stun the cue ball up and onto the line. Now that's nice, I'm happy with that, I can live with that. So now I want to try and send the cue ball so I can find this natural. Now in this instance, the ball line or the breaking line, whatever you want to call it, is a really good guide. It's our friend. Because I don't really want to be too far past the line if I'm past it at all. But if I am past it a little bit, I certainly don't want to be here, because now I'm straight and I've got to play this ball from distance. It's not the end of the world, I would take it. But if that's my line on my yellow into the centre pocket on ball number 4, I really would like to be this side of it. And you don't really get anything for that side of it. Well, that now starts here, because that starts of how far do I push the cue ball through on ball number 2 to then get this natural from 3 to 4. So it's already started. The process of what is already started. So I'm just going to play this and just push it through a fraction. And in this instance, I couldn't really help not being close to the rail because I wanted to guarantee the line. So 3 to 4 would be a natural, just on the line. Okay, absolutely perfect, delighted. I've a hair of an angle, so I can just bring my cue ball back into here. I don't mind being straight, but there's no need. I'd like to have the angle where I can come into the rail and back out and back onto this nice line again. So I've got to instruct the cue ball a little bit here because if I just roll it in, I've got a little bit too much angle. I just want to kind of just bring my cue ball back into the centre of the table. So, as we did in one of the other videos, or if you haven't seen it yet, I take a look. When I'm close to the rail like this, or certainly within this range, I like to use the loop bridge. That's what's comfortable for me when I'm cueing off the rail. Right, delighted with that. So now, where don't I want to be? I don't really want to be straight, because then I've got to play this ball off the rail. However, it's easy enough where it's not a problem. I certainly don't want too much angle, because then I'm coming over here and things are all getting a little bit messy. So it's pull it into here, kind of somewhere between 6 o'clock and middle ball, and just pop it back over. I'll be really happy with that. And again, we talk about these natural lines. I don't particularly want to be straight on this. However, it does give me that option. I can actually draw it back and play middle. But with this red here, I really want to stay on this side of the table, so I've got no kind of traffic or anything silly happening. So again, if that's my line, then as long as I'm on the right-hand side of that line, I'll have a nice natural just to come into the 8 ball. So play this nice and steady down the rail, give it every chance the pocket accepting it. I'll be happy with that. And again, just a little words of wisdom. When you can use direction instead of speed control, I would always advocate that that's the way to do it. So rather than stunning up onto the line, which you could be short, or you could actually hit it too firm, use the rail, use that natural, and get nice and snug on the 8 ball. Okay, absolutely perfect, dead straight. So we've took the balls exactly how we've wanted to. We've landed on all the lines that we've wanted to land on. A nice simple 8 ball into the centre. A little bit close to the rail, but nothing that should really be a problem. But keep your head still. Nice little tip for when you're near to the rail. Keep your head still. Bring the hand up the back of the cue a little bit just to shorten it up, and put a nice stroke on it. And that's how it's done. Shall we do another one? So we go again, and we've got this dry break going on. You can come to the table, you've got many options of what to play. You can certainly play the reds if you wanted to. These 2 reds go, and trying to come into this area. Just for today's purpose, I'm going to look at taking the yellows, because I just want to tell you how important it is to take the balls in the correct order and take the balls on the correct line. Now, there's a couple of things to identify here straight away. The 8 ball is accessible, but it certainly could be easier if it was in the centre of the table, in terms of how many balls we've got, which could be last ball. We've now got to make that decision. Oh, excuse me. We've now got to make this decision straight away. So what have we got? This is our last ball, because you would believe that straight on this ball gives us the 8 ball. You would therefore think this would be 6 to 7. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't, as long as we make sure that we land high on it and we can just roll on the natural into the gap. I don't see any issue there. With that in mind, this then becomes number 5. But where we land on number 5 is really key, because we want to try and get on the correct line so we guarantee the natural on 6 to get to 7. How do we guarantee the natural on 5 to get to 6 to naturally get to 7? We have to naturally get on number 4 to get to 5 to get to 6 to 7. Are you with me? So 3 to 4. You have to be straight on 3 to drop 4. But we don't want too much angle after number 4, because then we're going down here. So that's no use to us. To get on number 4, we need to be a little bit more sort of snug. So the better that we get to 3, the better we can get to 4, the better we can get to 5. So, you know where I'm going with this. This is number 1, this is number 2. The better we get to 2, the better we get to 3, the better we get to 4. So again, even though that's 7 and 6, and this is going to be 5, it's likely going to be 4, everything has to start here. Because the better that we get onto the next ball means the better we can get onto the next one, and so on and so on and so on. What happens is if you don't get on the balls correctly, then you can start to what we call chase the clearance, meaning you're chasing to get back into position because you haven't took enough care at the beginning. So I'm going to play number 1 ball here. Now I haven't really got a natural unless I run it through to there, but that's probably overplaying the situation. To try and play there to play this ball, it wouldn't really fit. So it's play the ball, come over, ideally not land straight, so that we can get nice and tight to number 3. Now I'm going to play this in such a way where I land kind of low of the other ball. That's how I like to play this shot. So again, I deem that the cue ball is just about close enough to the rail, I feel, so I can put my hand on the rail with the loop bridge. If I was to play it and get down and I felt like that wasn't where I was at, I could play it like that. So let's have a little look at how I feel on this. Yeah, I feel like that's okay. I feel like I'd play that with a loop bridge and just pop the ball over. Okay, now, not really played great. Not really played well at all, in all fairness, because I've come very straight on this ball and I really wanted to be low of the ball. So trying to get low, you know, has kind of harmed me a little bit there. Maybe I should have guaranteed just being high, which is what I would really coach. You know, however, because I've been playing the game so long and I've always tried to get low, it's probably one of those situations that I don't always practice what I preach. So in all fairness, guys, the shot there was really to play there, and I've tried to get here. Just so many years of playing the shot in a certain way that I can't really get out of the habit. And you know, we all get frustrated, even somebody like myself, because bad habits are hard to get out of. And that's one of those habits that has actually hurt me a bit there. Actually trying to get here instead of actually playing to here has caused me a problem. So I would always advise to play there. However, I can't seem to get it out my system but to play there. So, you know, for you guys at home that go, you know, I can relate to that. You know, like sometimes I play a shot and I know, you know, I do it. That's one of the real Achilles heels in my game that I really mentally find hard to get out, is playing high on a ball as opposed to desperately trying to get low. And you might say, well, why are you doing it? I think it's just because I feel like I sight the ball better from low of it as opposed to high. So when I was playing a bit of snooker in the early days, I would always prefer to pot a black off the spot from low than what I would high. And I guess that's just always kind of been in there, that I would just rather sight the ball from a low ball than a high ball. So with that said, I've now got to play some sort of shot to get position. Now I'm straight enough where I can play backspin, so I've been slightly fortunate that I'm at least straight. Off straight would have been really awkward. I may have had to try to kind of thump it around the 2 rails. So I actually got fortunate enough where I could play 6 o'clock on the cue ball with backspin and actually get somewhere where I wanted to be. Now, if I'd have been correct on that, I'd have been a bit closer to my work, but in this instance, it might not make too much of a difference. We'll see. So, got away with that one a little bit. So, do as I say, not as I do, as my old late mother used to say to me. So, okay, just stop this cue ball now. So, again, I'm close enough to the rail where I can play this little pop shot. Okay, I do like to cue off the rail using that loop bridge, purely because you want to try and keep your cue as parallel as you can at all times. You don't really kind of want this going on. So with the loop bridge, you know, effectively you're keeping your cue as flat as you can and just guiding it with the loop. You know what I mean? So I like to do that. So this is quite important now because, and what I will say as well, do a little lap of the table. Unless you're restricted with time, where you're on a timer where you've got to play excessively quick, you know, come and have a look at where you want to be. Not, oh, well, somewhere there will do, because it's so important to walk around and have a feel and get a feel for where you want to be. So I'm trying to get a feel for where I want to be here. Whereas if you don't actually walk around, you can actually go the other side of the table and think, oh no, I didn't want to be there. So, you know, sometimes just have a little look, not wear the carpet out as such, but, you know, I've walked around and have a look. So I want to just drop this in nice and easy. So again, a bit closer to the rail. So just put my hand up the back of the cue, just to give myself more control. And I'll be delighted with that, because that is the exact angle that I really wanted. It really is the exact angle that I wanted. I didn't want too much, because now I'm going down here, or I've got to stun it down. Again, would have been speed control and not direction. But every time you can use the rail, I would always suggest using the rail, because it gives you the direction that you want. So now I can top it off the rail onto the line that I want. If I've got to stun it down, I might not get far enough, or I might actually overhit it. So where I am is absolutely perfect. Again, don't mind the idea of coming and have a look and going, okay, so, yep, that works for me. Everything for high, really, as long as it's not too high. Okay, and what you'll notice is, because I got so nice on the ball, I could choose where I wanted to pocket it. So because I wanted this line, I chose to pot it into this side of the pocket, which meant I could keep a straighter ball. If I potted it into this side of the pocket, I'm getting a wider ball, which is what I don't want in this instance. I wanted it exactly where it is. So that's perfect. So nothing too, you know, to kind of over egg here, so to speak. Again, just up the cue just a fraction. You've got nice control over the ball. And you notice this time I haven't done the loop bridge. I could do the loop bridge, but sometimes when it's a little bit close to the cushion, or you feel like it's kind of masking where your tip is striking, I then sometimes play it like that, which then guides the cue by my finger, but never that. I'm only ever that if I need to elevate the cue for a reason. In this instance, I don't. So I've no backspin to impart. I don't need to get to the bottom of the white, so there's no need for my cue to be like that. It's keep it as flat as possible. So in this instance, my finger is the guide as opposed to the loop. Run through for the last ball. And we don't need to over egg the situation. Roll the last ball in and walk around the table. Nice and steady does it. And pocket the 8. And again, that's a demonstration of taking the balls in the right order, trying to get on the right lines. 2 to 3 got a little bit messy. So fortunately, I had the ability to get myself out of trouble. On another day, you know, maybe I wouldn't have done. So not perfect, not precision. So it was 8 out of 10.